Good to have you company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. Our Thursday night doubleheader of GSRC Motorsport continues, but this time we switch our attention from open wheelers to tin tops. We're at the same venue as we were before the commercial break just a few seconds ago, the other side of the intermission, ladies and gentlemen. But we move from the Formula E layout to the Formula One layout of the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez and round one of the GSRC Porsche Cup. It's Thursday night motorsport across the platforms of the GSRC on Facebook and YouTube. It is terrific to have you company. Zach Cabin and Andrew Neal now with you. Matt Schmidtke's still here as well, but that's more in a moral support capacity, just making sure that Neil has got the I's dotted and the T's crossed, ready to rock and roll. This is only his third broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to have him back. We didn't frighten him off with the first two broadcasts at the end of last term, and we'll actually be finishing on a Thursday night rather than a Friday morning this time round for Neely's sake as well. 4.23 kilometres this circuit in length. The temperature at the moment sitting on 31 degrees. That's the track temp. The ambient is just 21 at the moment. Hello to you, Andrew Neal. Good to have you tuning in, mate. And joining me for this term of Porsche Cup racing. And great that Schmidtke's been able to jump on board and do the V's. It means that we get a fully live Thursday night broadcast away this term on the platforms of the GSRC, and I know our audience have been looking forward to that.
Yeah, mate, it's been good to be back. Exciting racing here at Mexico tonight. Always good Porsche Cup cars go around, so looking forward to it.
Indeed we are. Let's have a look at a couple of things here. Firstly, Formula V done and dusted. It was great to have them back. If you're just joining us, well done to Lockie Purvis, well done to Braden Sagassa, well done to Ryan Jones, all picking up a race win there throughout the course of the evening. There is a bit of other sport going on whilst we're on air tonight, so concurrently with us, you got the AFL and the NRL. AFL, Carlton lead Collingwood at half-time, 6-5-41 to 2-7. Sorry, so 6-5-41 to 3-9-27. Dyslexic moment. I went the bottom line instead of the top line, or the top line instead of the bottom line, one of the others. But yes, that's what's going on there. And in the NRL, the Cowboys up against Manly. In Townsville, I want to point out, the Manly Seagulls lead at halftime, 22-6 over the Cowboys. We'll keep across those results as the night unfolds. Here and now, approaching 9:30 local server time. It's a new season of the Porsche Cup. The schedule is an interesting one. It differs significantly to what you're going to see in Formula V. But, of course, the first stop on the calendar is the same. It's identical. Next week, however, these guys go to the streets of Long Beach, then onto the Red Bull Ring for a 40-minute race. The 60-minute Enduro was a lot earlier this term, and hopefully a lot bloody drier as well. That's from the Nürburgring Nordschleife on May 7. Then on to Donington Park for sprint racing, then to Spa-Francorchamps for a 40-minute affair, then back to Zandvoort, which, as I said earlier, bit of a goat track in some respects, but it does throw up good sprint racing when we take it there. The Adelaide Parklands will host a 40-minute race this term instead of sprint racing. The Grand Prix of St. Petersburg venue in Florida will host sprint racing. And then, of course, a super sprint from Sandown to round out the campaign. So the calendar is an absolute beauty this term. We are getting ready to go. We'll have a little bit of an overtime period here for the close of the qualifying session. An overlap because the clock has expired, but these guys will be allowed to complete their last flying lap if they've already started it before the checkered flag flew. And some of these guys will now just be out there getting familiar with the circuit, except for Matt Schmidtke, who's parked on the inside of turn number 4, or the outside, I should say, turn 4, and has exited the booth accordingly. Schmidty will hopefully join us on the racetrack from the back of the grid shortly. Very different looking field, I must say. Spinner there into the wall. That was Cooper Friend, and here's Sam Chapman now trying to lay a number down. Round onto the main straight. Nope, Chapo's bailing out of it, and he's done. He's going to start from 9th. So, very different looking field. Some of the regulars are nowhere to be seen. The session is done. The cars will be lining up on the grid very shortly. Luke Alavoine and Willie Blair have taken out the front row here. This is a 40-minute race to get us going. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon local server time. 7-kilometre-an-hour winds. We are looking at 68 degrees, so that's northeaster. 26 degrees the ambient. 54 on track, so again, stiflingly hot conditions track temperature-wise for both servers tonight. 29% humidity, 54 degrees the track temp, partly cloudy conditions, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Righto. Luke Alavoine, Willie Blair the front row, Eric Fenson and Luke Brooker the second row. Craig Bond from 3 alongside Paul Rogers. Bondy in 5th in an elite split. Where is everybody? No disrespect intended to Bondy. He's a good little peddler, but that's as high up as he's ever been in a Porsche elite field after qualifying. Cam Culverwell and Luke King. And then Sam Chapman and Cooper Friend, the top 10. Outside of that, Jason Wilkinson, John Akers, Ben Snell make up the field. Schmitty hasn't taken his place on the grid yet, nor he has. Nor have Daniel Evans, Alan Dawson, or Adam Lavis. Lavis, I think, was over in the open split and jumped into this server by mistake. That's now been rectified and sorted out. So let's hope that what they lack in quantity, Andrew Neil, they make up for in quality.
I'm sure they will. Always turns out to be exciting. A bit of door banging overlay and on a wonderful racetrack.
It is. It's one of my absolute favourites to drive on the PlayStation on the F125 game, I must say. It's also one of the best ones to cause a crash on, but that's not the point. Ready to fire. A calm before the storm. Revs will rise and he's second now. Round 1 of the new GSRC Porsche Cup campaign. Thursday night Motorsport, night 4, week 1, term 2. Let's go! Great start, Luke Alavoine and Willie Blair. Cam Culverwell's rocketed up the inside. He's made a terrific launch. He's going to 4th on the inside on the run down to turn 1. Culverwell in a charge early on. Luke Brooker, he's next target. He's pushing him along. Rogers and Chapman arguing over the same piece of real estate. And Daniel Edmonds cheering for the fact that he wasn't last in qualifying by virtue of the fact that he left the server and didn't get auto-corrected into that position. But you have now, my friend, I'm sorry. You're now showing 17th on the order, on the totem pole. Alavoine leads for Blair Sim Racing. Willie Blair for Riot Sim in second. Culverwell is third, up 4 spots already. Rogers up 2 spots. Chapman up 4 spots, a rocket of a start. Brooker and Bond have slipped a couple of spots there. And Chapman up in the 5th spot, still arguing with Brooker over the same piece of real estate. There they go, through the long sweeping rights and lefts of the back section of the circuit. Ben Snell up 2 spots, so too John Akers. We've had a safe start. We're away cleanly here.
Well, you spoke too soon there. Matt Schmidtke has had a crash.
Uh-oh. Of course. I've put the mocker on my old mate from the Formula V broadcast of less than 15 minutes ago. Can you believe that?
I believe he may have crashed before you give him the commentary curse.
Thank goodness. As long as I can't be blamed for it, or have it pinned on me, I'm happy. So, round onto the main straight, 1 lap gone I'll be interested to see what the fast outright lap times are around here in race trim, because there will be a compulsory pit stop tonight, folks, and that will allow us to do the calculations with regards to how far we're going in terms of race laps and kilometres. Down the inside, Craig Bond launches down on the inside of Cooper. Friend goes into position number 7, runs it too deep. Friend will get him back through 2, side by side. Bondy rides the ripple strip. The pogo stick in action for the first time this campaign. And now they're out on the run up to turn 4. Bondy's there. He's got Craig Bond, Luke King on his right side, and on his left was Cooper Friend. They were 3 wide there for a moment. That was sorted out. Bond. Oh no, Friend bogs it down. Runs it too deep into the corner, botches the run to 4 and loses 2 spots as a result. Cooper Friend now under pressure on the outside there by John Akers. The outgoing open split champion, of course. Friend goes through into 9th. Luke King is 8th. He now holds down 7th and Luke Brooker is 6th. But already I'm concerned by how far these guys are spread out. Have a look at them. Only that battle pack, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. What it's really keeping an eye on right now. So it could be a slow old drag, this 40-minute affair in Mexico. But again, the numbers just not there tonight, unfortunately, from a participation standpoint. Luke King under pressure from Cooper Friend to the stadium section once more. See what I mean when I say how significantly different and how much it varies track to track, the Formula E configuration of the stadium section compared to the Formula One. How many stops do they need to do? That's a good question, because there have been some subtle amendments to our supplementary regulations term on term here on the platforms of the GSRC. We even have compulsory pit stops for GT4, but we don't have a GT4 series at the moment. So I don't know how that happened. Anyway, for the Porsches, 1 compulsory pit stop will be the order of the equation here. Now, that applies to race 2 of a sprint round, race 3 of a super sprint round, and a 40-minute race. And when we up the clock to 60 minutes in a couple of weeks at the Nürburgring, where I hope it's dry for their sake and ours, we will have 2 stops across the course of 60 minutes. Daniel Stewart tuning into the broadcast. Good evening. Luke King in 8th spot at the moment, and nearly. They've spread out very quickly here. It's a very thin spread of this field. Willie Blair's off the ride. That'll be a slowdown, surely. Yep, that's going to cost him 2nd. Through will go Cam Colville, up 5 spots already. Good start. Paul Rogers into 4th spot now. Chapman is 5th. So it just takes a little mistake like that from Willie Blair, who's still trying to clear that slowdown, to allow Chapman to go through and Rogers to go through. It takes an awfully long time to clear, but it takes one little mistake like that, and all of a sudden you have no cars in a battle. You go from that to having 4 cars in a battle, and that's what we've just seen play out here. 1 minute 43.237. So if I base the sums based on 1 minute 45, let's do that way, because it's going to become too difficult. Schmidtke in the wall again. That was the lap 1 replay, I hope. Yep. 30 seconds down the road at the moment is Schmidtke, and struggling with this racetrack. Let's do it based on 1 minute 45 calculations rather than 1 minute 40, because then that'll also probably cancel out the pit lane transit as well, if I'm being completely honest. So 1 minute 45 and 2 is 3.5 and 2 is 7. That's 4. 6 7s are, sorry, not trying to get into the youthful trend at the moment. 6 times 7, 6 multiplied by 7, Jesus Christ, is 42. Take 1 away from that. You're coming back to about 40 minutes and 15 seconds. That's not including the pit transit. That's also allowing for times to drop off based on pace and other things out there. I mean, Luke Ellervoin's in a league of his own at the moment. He's the only one in the 43s. 1 minute 43.2 as opposed to Cam Culverwell, 1 minute 44.83. And also Paul Rogers, 1 minute 44.68. 1, 2, 3 drivers, 4 drivers in the 43s at some point in the race so far. Luke King being one of those. Craig Bond being one of those, 1 minute 43.999. and Sam Chapman 1:43.797. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Johnny. I didn't need you to buy into it for me, but that's all right. You knew exactly where I was going with my humour. Look at the lead. Holy smokes. Luke Alavine and the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 43.124. He leads down to turn 1. It's not even a contest at the moment. It's a technical knockout. 6 seconds to the good on lap number 5. Dench-like numbers being racked up here at the moment. Bloody hell. Going to be a long sell this one. Tough sell this one, I think, to keep everybody amused and engaged for the next 34 minutes. But, so, where were we? 4 laps in 7 minutes. 6 times 7 is 42. Looking at probably 23 laps. Maybe they squeeze in a 24th. I don't know what the pit transit's going to do to the race time, but if I was a betting man, I'm looking at 23 laps here. Because I'm not entirely sure, Andrew Neil, what the tyre wear rate's going to be like for these Porsches. And if those times start to drop off, they're going to head back close to that 1:45 marker, which is in safe territory for me for 23 laps. So based on all of that, I mean, if you were to take the 23 seconds away, right? Sorry, the 23 times 2 seconds away, because again, we're running in the 1:43s, or at least one competitor is. And I'm basing it on 105 seconds a lap instead of 103. But we're projecting 23 laps, so you take 46 seconds away. And then you add that to the pit transit, it's going to be neck and crop. It's going to be so bloody close, because we expect that pit lane transit to be no less than 30 seconds. So 23 laps, I think, is going to be a safe bet. 3 wide, here we go. First time this season in the Porsche Cup on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and Cam Calverwell was blinking billing. Here comes Chapman down the inside. Paul Rogers wants a piece of it as well. Last of the late breakers down to turn 1. Squeeze job, Chapman to second. And cleanly as well. Rogers to third. Calverwell loses out. Chapman is up 7 spots already. But it's a brave man that backs against Luke Alavine at this point. Calverwell to the inside. No, now he's under pressure. Vulnerable to Luke Brooker. Brooker around the outside for 4th. And Bondi wants a piece of this as well. Poor old Calverwell's getting swamped from all angles. Bond to P5. King and Friend are there behind Willie Blair. So between first and second is 7.15 seconds. It's 4.1 between Chapman and Cooper Friend, who sits 9th at the moment. 4 seconds covers 8 cars. This has livened up quite nicely. Bondi's going to pick up a slowdown. Huston. Brooker will go by. Rogers will go by. Calverwell will go by. Oh, contact Calverwell. They're wide. That'll help Bondi out. It'll help Paul Rogers and Sam Chapman out as well. They're broken clear of this garbage. Bondi side by side with Brooker. Bond's still got some slowdown time to clear. Gonna have to get on the anchors shortly or wear the penalty. Wear the rub over the knuckles. Calverwell's gone round. Calverwell spins on the approach to the second to last corner and drops right down the order. Bondi somehow managed to clear the slowdown. I don't know how he got away with that. Now under pressure from Luke Brooker. These boys jerking it out for 4th on the racetrack. Daylight between Chapman and Rogers. 1.2 seconds covers them, and they're 4 seconds clear of the battle for 4th. Brooker, Friend, King, Blair now all trying to track down Craig Bond. Wide goes Cooper Friend, but it's to his benefit. King picks up a slowdown. Friend's coming through to 6th, 5th. Brooker will go through past him. Side by side we go. Holy moly. Thorne, good evening to you. Great to have you tuning in. Bang! Brooker, side by side with Cooper Friend now. They make contact.
Only a few cars on the grid, Zach, but what racing it is at the moment.
Exactly right. Exactly right, mate. Is there part of you that would like to actually be out there in the thick of it right now?
Nah, absolutely not.
I love it. I love it. How are we going for incident points? There have been a few that have picked up a slowdown. How are we going for incident points? Do we have that information available?
Let me see what I can pull up.
Because some of the incident points aren't tripping up on my timing screen here, but we've seen more slowdowns than what would be reflected by the incident points. So this is fantastic. Cameron Dakin cheering on. Cooper Friend down the main straight we go. Luke King, Cooper Friend, Ben Snell, Luke Brooker, Willie Blair. 5 of them duking it out. This could well end in tears. 3 wide again. You're right. They are absolutely off the chart. Insane. Bravest people in sport. We always said you had to have a few screws loose to go motor racing. Down the inside, Brooker. No, not yet. And now vulnerable to Benny Snell. And John Akers as well. Benny Snell's moved his way through to 7th in all of this. That's madness. Big moving and shaking going on here. Luke King is 5th. But the big movers, Sam Chapman and Ben Snell, up 7 spots apiece. Make it +6 now for Ben because Cooper Friend's gone through to 6th, up 4 spots. Chapman's bolted. Some training miles for him at high altitude for the second round of the Porsche Pro Invitational next Wednesday night from Spa. What a mighty start from him. Had to chase his tail, charge through the field. This is the Mexico City, he remembers. He's up. It was in my inbox earlier. He was up me for the rent there saying, this isn't the Mexico circuit I know. When talking about the Formula V track configuration, of course, that was the Formula E layout. This will be much more to his liking, and it's reflected on the scoreboard at the moment. He's sitting pretty in 2nd. Wide goes Cooper Friend. Vulnerable now to Ben Snell. Again. Luke Brooker trying to get down Snell. He's inside as well. And Friends as well. Through they go. Friend, Brooker and Blair. Ben Akers, Ben Wilkinson's chimed in and joined this mix. The leader, 8 seconds to the good. Chapman's got 2 seconds on Paul Rogers. Once you find clear air, the world's your oyster here. Bondi's got 3.5 seconds to reel in Paul Rogers, but he's got 5 seconds back to Luke King, who has 3 seconds back to Ben Snell, who needs to break clear of this bottleneck. Just goes to show, when you can break clear, you can make good ground, you can make good time here, but if you get caught up in a battle pack, Andrew Neil, you got to work hard for your money. Cooper Friend, they're in 7th at the moment. Luke Galavoine, he's 9 seconds to the good. Just give him the W now, please. Stop the contest. This fight is over. What's that meme in The Simpsons? Stop it, he's already dead. So's the contest. It's done. Luke Galavoine, barring a monumental muck-up coming into the pit lane to complete his compulsory splash and dash. I mean, this is one of those circuits that will catch somebody out. We know that. We've seen that before. But barring that, he's on a one-way train to victory. Let's ride on board with him for a lap now that things have calmed down and see where he's got the advantage, the leg up over everybody else right now. Jason Wilkinson jumps to pit lane. Before that, Cam Caldwell and Matt Schmidtke. They've both gone to pit lane already. So the field's slowly starting to cleanse as we continue to ride on board with Alavoine. Have a look at that. Class with the capital C riding on board there with Luke Alavoine. That's the gap he's got on Benny Snell. Snell is 25 seconds down the road. The lead is 9.5 on Chapman. The pace, both of them in the 42s, 43s at the moment. But Alavoine has checked out. No further action, sorry. The incident between Jake Cowman and Tristan Koch, that's from the open split, I think you'll find. So that's good. We're getting an indication as to what's going on over there and who's getting whacked over the knuckles and who's not. We'll have the full results from the open split at the end of the broadcast, of course. What we need a second producer. I know we're skeleton staff at the moment, nearly, but we need a second staffer. We could almost run the mega wall, 7 Sports style.
Yeah, absolutely. Could do with a couple more to help out on the nights where they're not abroad.
Well, that's exactly right. Tomorrow night on that subject, at this stage, no broadcast, folks. But if that changes, do tune in. We'll advise at a later point in time. But I don't think it's going to change right now. I'll be busy packing for the return trip to Ipswich on Saturday. And another full day of running errands tomorrow. I always seem to end up busier in Cessnock than I'd like to be. Running errands Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, that was a case of today being Thursday. That was a case of put the feet up and relax a little bit and catch up on the TV that I've missed throughout the course of the week. How good was the Australian Idol final? I said that earlier. How good was Amy Shark? And how good's Home and Away been of late?
What is the go with that ridiculous hairpiece she's got, Amy Shark?
I'll come back to that. Do you know something I don't? Trav, don't worry about a whoopsie there, mate. Feel free to keep feeding us info, mate. We'll happily take it. We appreciate the intel. With regards to what's going on over there. We will have open split racing as the season goes on for you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have the breakdown of that in front of me at this very moment, but I'll work on that before the end of the broadcast. Once we confirm that we're actually going to be able to broadcast each and every week live at the same time, we'll be right. I think we're set solid. We're set fair now for this term, which is great news. And as I said earlier, good to have Matty Schmidtke back as part of the team. What do you mean hairpiece? That I was of the belief that was natural.
That little thing that tonks up on her head, that's got to be a hairpiece. Now that little shark fin thing.
Yeah. The little what do you call it? The little bob.
Yeah, the little bob. That is an extension. I'm sure of it.
Well, it might be. There might be some of it that is. It's not uncommon for the Sheilas these days, mate, to have artificial hair or hair extensions that they clip on and clip off when it suits them to be short hair, long hair. Whether it depends on which guy they're trying to impress, I think, some days. Certainly none of them are trying to impress me, nearly, and that's okay by me at the moment. I'm too busy with GSRC commitments. But, that's just been her signature, I guess. I think that's the best way to describe it. That is her signature. Although, you may have noticed throughout the course of this season of Australian Idol, it was certainly prevalent during the auditions on 7 at the start of February and all the way through the Winter Olympics, etc. But it has gone MIA. It has gone MIA, so she may have shown at the door.
There you go. No more top knot.
Yeah, thank you. Top knot. That's the word. Thank you.
Why
didn't you think of that earlier? Rubber. So the top knot. So there are other words that I could use for top knots, but they're reserved for when blokes wear them. When blokes have got them. And we will cover that off in more detail off air. Nearly, it's just safer to do it that way. If you've seen the memes on social media, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but keep it PG rated. The kids are watching, right? 11 past 9 on the East Coast, 11 past 11 in New Zealand, or 12 past now, actually, we just ticked over, and 11 past 12 past 7 on the West Coast at the moment. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We are more than halfway through this Porsche Cup race, and that is Luke Brooker at the moment, sitting there holding down position number... I just lost my thread, unfortunately. There it is. I've got it back on the screen. Position number 10, John Akers and Jason Wilkinson. I'm only working with two screens at the moment, folks, and I went to the wrong tab on the second screen. Matt Schmidtke is showing a lap down at the moment, but he'll get that back, I would imagine, when the boys come in and stop. Alavoine, Chapman, Rogers, Bond, King, and Snell all yet to stop. Blair and Friend doing that right now. Wilkinson, Akers, Brooker, Culverwell have already been in, and the field partway cleansed. Cam Culverwell's stop was only 1.12 seconds. That's concerning, because I don't think that's going to be anywhere near enough to get him home, although Willie Blair only went 2.9. So maybe they know something that we don't. We do associate this circuit synonymously with being able to stretch the tank, stretch the life of the tank, the longevity of the fuel, and save a little bit along the way here because of the high altitude. We've seen it before in GT3. We've seen it before in Supercar. We will see it again in the Porsche Cup. So if the boys are onto that, that might explain why they've been able to go through in 1.1 and 2.9 seconds respectively. The marker here, nearly, as to whether or not these blokes are onto something, will be none other than our crafty mate Sam Chapman.
Absolutely. If anyone's going to do it on the fuel save, it's going to be Chapo every day of the week.
And how lucky were we? How lucky were we a couple of weeks ago? We weren't sure at the time. We only got advised well after the fact, ladies and gentlemen. We had a couple of tech issues a couple of weeks ago, and our good mate Chapo gave us some high quality entertainment just after having a little bit of a little bit of bait thrown in his general direction by your, and he was in pristine, form. And unfortunately for you at home, we actually were being told that you were able to hear something because we were getting messages saying mics were on. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, they weren't, in the sense of broadcast standards and regulations and other things. Unfortunately for you, because now you can only find out secondhand what the hell we were talking about. But at the same time, it's probably a good thing. So it's one of those 50-50 sort of scenarios. And Chapo doubled down on it last night too, nearly. He said, I would have been more than happy for that to be on the record. So
yeah, well, when you feel as strongly as he does, mate,
exactly.
Let it fly.
Oh, 100%.
And that he did.
That he certainly, absolutely he did. He got stuck in. It was great.
It was just as well it was only me with the hot mic.
Exactly right. But this is him getting stuck in here at the moment in second spot. As I say, he will be the marker with regards to pit stops and time on the jacks, because we just get that feeling that it will be a fuel save race. We're already at the 26-minute mark, and the top third of the field hasn't entertained the idea of coming down pit lane. There are only 13 runners still in this race. That's, at least everyone that started is still running. That's the saving grace here. We'd hate nothing more than to see everybody drop off and the field be even more depleted than what it started out like. But the numbers here in the pro split have been an issue. The elite split have been an issue the last couple of rounds. We were in single digits last term at the end. So this is a vast improvement. Although we did have fun at Phillip Island in the rain, didn't we? Alavoine, Chapman, Bond, Rogers, King, Snell, Blair, Culverwell, Friend, Brooker, Akers, Wilkinson, and Schmidtke, the 13 at the moment. And Schmidtke showing a minute and 55 down the road. As I say, he will get some of that time back. He has already stopped. The interesting thing for mine will be when everybody else stops. There's only 3 battles playing out on the circuit at the moment. You are watching one of them. It's Paul Rogers chasing down Craig Bond.
We might take the time to go and have a look at Schmidt's second accident. Also, there was from Cam Culverwell as well. Head back and have a look at the action.
Well, actually, I will advise you, Neely, that now that we're live, you can show these replays at whatever time you like during the broadcast. It's not going to have an impact.
That is correct.
Yes.
I only did that once.
Yes. Oh dear. GT4 Alton Park, if anybody wants a reference. And this was Cam Culverwell, and that was costly too, because that meant that he lost complete contact with that entire battle pack there, which at the time was fiery. It was juicy, fruity, good stuff. Yep. I was going to say, for those of you that are aware very much of the culture and the camaraderie of the platforms, the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, some of our pristine, top shelf, career best behaviour and form and comedy comes when we say goodnight to you at home, and we stay here in broadcast and have a post-mortem. So looking forward to a few more of those later on this season. I'm surprised no one's thrown bait in my direction today after what I woke up to and saw this morning on the television. If you're watching the Today Show, you'd know what I mean.
What was on the Today Show?
Oh, a former Queensland dictator.
Yes.
Trying to clutch onto some sort of semi-relevance. Yes.
Speaking of news, how is it? We finally have a fuel crisis, and we decide to burn down one of the
yeah.
Could not have been worse timing.
There are already the skeptics among us that are looking at that and thinking that's a conspiracy waiting to happen. And how convenient and I get it, accidents happen, but you couldn't think of a worse place at a worse time for that sort of thing to lose its proverbial.
And how about Ampol coming out and saying our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we're happy to do whatever we can to help out.
By which they mean up the price at the Bowser.
Yeah, up the price of Bowser. Spit out some more fuel, make some more money.
Nearly, I couldn't believe it last week, right? Normally there's not too much discrepancy, right, between Cessnock and Coffs Harbour and Ipswich. You know, you're usually within 5 or 10 cents per litre of whatever you fuel your car with in that 8-hour transit, right? So I normally just pull up wherever I need to do a number one, and where I'm starting to run towards a point where I can fuel up and still get home without having to fuel up again. Down the inside, Brooker defending, Cooper friend, and continuing to do so. But I actually got on the blower last week to my mother and said, listen, do me a favour. Whilst I'm in transit here, I'm just sitting in cruise control at 115, not breaking any law, etc., etc. As friend goes down on the inside of Brooker, and finally we're seeing some action here at last. Brooker down the inside, to quote Billy Birmingham's impersonation of Murray Walker all those years ago. These cars have just been going round and round and round. It's been so processional the last few laps. Brooker into ninth, holds off friend for the moment. Luke Alavoine comes to pit lane. He was stationary for 9.05 seconds. Now that's interesting. Again, Chapo's the marker as far as I'm concerned. If he's been doing a little bit of fuel saving along the way, Chapo, high altitude, all those variable factors, it'll be whether Chapo's closer to the 9 seconds of Luke Alavoine or the 2.9 of Willie Blair or the 1.1 of Cam Caldwell. That's where the race could be won and lost as far as I'm concerned. Going back to your point, so I rang Mum, ensured that I was doing the right thing, didn't have to concentrate for a couple of minutes, so I could just talk to her and drive. Men aren't very good at multitasking, least of all me. And I said to Mum, can you do me a favour and just check the fuel prices? Right, because I knew the car could get the extra 30 kilometres down the road to Port Macquarie, the big roundabout there with the BP at the exit on the highway. Right, so you don't go too far off the highway. I don't like taking detours when it's an 8-hour trip. It's long enough already, right? I said, can you have a look there and have a look at Kempsey? Because they've recently put in 2 big service stations, a Caltex and an Ampol side by side. And again, once you get there, you're 3 hours from home. It was 20 cents a litre difference in 30 kilometres. It was 275.5 or 9 at the BP and 255.9 or 259.9 with my 4-cent discount, bringing it back to 255.9 at the Caltex at Kempsey. I was like, well, I guess we're fueling up at Kempsey. Now, I get to send that bill to Car to New South Wales and get reimbursed for my travel because I've been down here for them in Bega. But at the same time, that $8 is far better off in their pocket than it is in the greedy fuel station pocket, isn't it? I just couldn't believe the variable to be that big a difference, that chunk, 20 cents a litre difference between one servo and another, one brand and another, 30 minutes apart or 30 kilometres apart, 20 minutes apart, if that. It was astonishing. So I think we're all looking forward to a time in our lives where the Strait of Hormuz is open, World War III has come and gone, and I mean, okay, it's not there yet, but it's not far off, folks, let's be honest. I mean, the amount of US troops that are being deployed to the area, it's getting close. That's my theory, that's my instinctive feeling on it anyway. But then, once that's all done, hopefully all this dies back down and we actually aren't forking out an arm, leg, kidney and or lung to go and fuel our car up.
Looking forward to diesel going back under $3 a litre.
Well, aren't we lucky that fuel comes free in iRacing? Could you imagine if they start giving you a fuel surcharge with your membership?
Don't give them any ideas, Zach.
No, I shouldn't actually.
Already
no,
charge
right.
for everything they can.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Won't be long and we will have a surcharge.
Oh dear! Actually, you'll get taxed every time you say the word fuel. Eventually, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable the world we live in at the moment, and not getting any more sensible. Getting less and less predictable by the day. Let's go down the main straight. We're on lap 21 now for Sam Chapman. He and Craig Bond doing the long run here, not looking at stopping just yet. 4.1 the margin between those two. We've hit the 36th minute of play. We're doing 1 minute 43s. What did I say earlier in the piece? 23? I said 23, didn't I? They may squeeze in a 24th. I'm trying to work out how they're going to do it. Depending upon pitch transit and everything else, Luke Galavoine is going to be the marker here, considering that he's already stopped. He's only 10 seconds behind Chapman. And Craig Bond's only 6 seconds up the road from him. So Luke Galavoine's the one I want to look at when he crosses the line, if we can manage that. When he comes back to the line this time by, whether or not he's going to be this side or the other side of 3.5 minutes, because if he's this side of 3.5 minutes, so by which I mean that window between 4 minutes to go and 3.5 to go, we get 3 laps, we get to 24. As I said, my mathematics was all based purely on how long that pit lane transit was. As it turns out, it wasn't terribly long. So there's Galavoine now. Oh, thank Christ, we're looking good. We're looking good for 23. Otherwise, he was going to make a right royal deal of me. But no, yeah, we're good. Chapman, is he coming in this time? No, it'll be next time by. It'll have to be. Although that could present us with an even more difficult issue. Because Chapman might be the leader that goes to pit lane that doesn't see the white flag. 142.8 for Luke Galavoine, the fastest lap of the night. So it is 23 laps. We can confirm that. We just don't know whether Chapman or Bond have got that memo, and they need to know that they've got to go to the lane this time by. They are the last two on the track to stop. They need to go to the lane to meet the criteria. this time by. We know Chapo's disdain for, you watch, he'll come in here and say to us after the fact that he could have done that with no stops. That's exactly what he's going to say to us nearly. He'll say, why do we have to have this compulsory pit stop rubbish? We know he loves a fuel save and a fuel race. We know that he doesn't like CPSs. He's made his feelings on that clear in the past. It's a bit of a sensitive subject, but he's still on track to be second or third across the line here, and Bondi's still on track for a solid result in the top 5 as well. Paul Rogers, Luke King, Willie Blair behind that. The rest of the field has gapped out significantly. Paul Rogers took 5.93 seconds of fuel. Luke King, 1.65. Willie Blair, 2.9. And Cam Culverwell, 1.1. In surely now comes Chapman. No. Chapo's going round. He'll see white. Or did he not? If he didn't see white, we're going to go into an overtime lap. Chapo may have just taken us to overtime. He has. Oh, damn you, Chapo. You've ruined the maths for everybody. Chapo's dragging us to overtime because he got to the line before that 1 minute 45 threshold. At 1 minute 43, 44 threshold. He got there before it. Barney's not waving the white. We're going round again. We're going to get 24. A full lap of overtime. We haven't seen that since the Nordschleifer in these things. And that was again brought on by rather inconvenient circumstances beyond our control in the form of torrential downpour rain. So this time through, again, Chapman and Bond have to stop. There's no way out of that. And they're actually going to stop on the 40-minute mark. This is ridiculous. And Bondy, I'm not sure what he's playing at here. I think he's just follow the leader, monkey see, monkey do. He's just, I'll go when Chapo goes. Either that or he's listening to us nearly and absolutely cackling.
Bondy has done an exceptional job with the fuel saving, keeping up with Chapo up there.
Yep.
On pace.
He's done a marvellous job here. Probably one of the cleanest races we've ever seen from Bondy. Off goes Jason Wilkinson on that note. In you come now, Chapo. Surely, yes, in. Beautiful. Bondy in. There's the clock expiring now. 40 minutes. And he finally hits pit road. So Luke Gallavoin's going to come around and see the white flag and we go to overtime now. Are you kidding me? Come on, Chapo. Fair dinkum. Chapman out in 3.8. Bondy out in 1.25. Bondy went out in 1.25. Are you kidding me? Bondy's going to leapfrog Chapman in the lane. That's ridiculous. We need to go back and have a look at this. Bond and Chapman are going to be side by side out of the pit lane. Chapman's going to be pushing him along. Bondy has leapfrogged Chapman on pit road. He only needs 1 lap of fuel. 1.25 seconds. Chapman to the outside, not going to make it work. They're going to hold one another up. They're going to fight for second in the motor race. They've got 10 seconds at their disposal. Over Paul Rogers and Luke King. Alavoin's going to win it by 15 seconds. Bondy and Chapman in the race for second. The fuel save smart asses, look at them go. Chapman to the inside of Bond and Bond still defending. This is ridiculous. Bondy's on track for his best ever Porsche Elite Cup result. And Chapman might finally just get himself onto the podium tonight. Difficult run in Formula V. He won't be liking the fact that the young bloke from Gundaguy's beaten him his own game here nearly. That'll be a sore point for the South Australian. But he'll be happy with third nonetheless because it is a long season after all. Checkered flag rises and flies. It's out in the air and waving for Luke Alavoy, who's absolutely smashed them tonight in Mexico. Alavoy and Blair Sim Racing clean up in round 1 of the GSRC Porsche Cup. Bondy's wide. Bondy's tight. Chapman, whoa, look at this. Last turn. How's the photo finish for second set on the opening line of the new turn? Bondy's got his eyes in front. Bondy's got Chapman. Wowee.
What a finish.
Second!
What a finish.
Are you kidding me? Chalk up one for the boy from Gundagai. What about that? And Paul Rogers in for 4th, Luke King 5th, and Willie Blair. Benny Snell's going to come through in 7th, and Cam Culverwell just misses out. Finishes up 8th. Luke Brooker holds off Cooper Friend. He's got by John Akers, who will finish 11th. And then you go back to Jason Wilkinson. Matt Schmidtke's finished a lap down. What the hell? Jeez. Nearly speechless. I'm speechless. The smallest Porsche Elite field for a season opener in history on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and yet they've delivered an instant classic. There were parts of that where it was getting a little bit tame and a little bit stale. But the back end of it certainly made up for it. Chapman. So I want it on the record, right? I want it on the record that the calculations were spot on, right? Because Chapman took us to overtime before the white flag flew. The white flag did not fly until overtime had commenced. So I want it on the record that the calculator was right.
To be fair, I'm surprised that the Zaculator didn't take that into account.
Well, I did, because as you would have heard when you were listening there earlier in the piece, I did say, as Chapman and Alavoine do join us, and we'll get to them in just a moment, I did say that 42 minutes would get us 24 laps. And, of course, pit lane transit, etc. I thought that we'd be pushing 40 minutes, but then in the end, these blokes have pitted bang on the 40-minute marker and still somehow got away with it legally. I don't get it. I don't get it, but thankfully, these two blokes haven't tripped anybody else up in the process. Because that always happens, nearly. You always get a little bit antsy or nervous about that. When these guys come to pit lane and they're getting the same info that we're getting and they're reading the same data we are, and they're saying, oh, look, this is probably looking like a 23-lap race. Uh-oh, hang on. Somebody's taken it to 24 because they've pitted with a second to go in regular time. So...
It has caught me out plenty of times where I've run out of fuel.
It doesn't look like it's tripped anybody up tonight. They'll be happy about that. Cooper Friend might be the only exception to the rule there. In fact, Cooper's been relegated. Can we? What's happened there to Cooper? Because Cooper crossed the line ahead of John Akers in 10th, but has been relegated to 12th. Did Cooper run out of incident points on the last lap? If somebody's got that information... Did Cooper have a black flag or a slowdown to serve, or did something go awry that we haven't caught whilst we've been getting over the battle for second? I'm not sure. Bondi, I'll get to you in a moment. Chapo, I'll get to you in a moment. Second and third, that can wait. I need to go and have a chat with the winner, because it's the first time we've actually had a chance to have a chat with him in a while. And I think I'm right in saying, look, Alavoine, it may be the first time we've spoken to you as a race winner in the elite split, mate. A marvellous start of the season, and an obliteration of the rest of the field as well, mate. 16.9 seconds in the end. That is a smashing in anyone's language.
Yeah, thanks for the talk up. It probably is the first time we've chatted in the elites, that's for sure.
Talk me through it, because, again, props to you. We'll take the hat off, we'll smash our hands together, we'll acknowledge what was a faultless drive from you. But was it just the right setup, the right car, the right moment? Did everything just click on the right night for you?
Yeah, a little bit. Track temperature heating up didn't help a bit. I was a bit loose there a couple of times, but it was quite fun.
Well, a bit worried when you were getting readings saying, oh, this is probably a 23-lap race, and then instantly these blokes managed to somehow wriggle an extra lap out of it?
My race calc said 1:24, so I went with that. I was always going to stop earlier anyway.
And that was the other point as well, mate. We were not necessarily surprised, but because we know that this racetrack lends itself to good fuel economy because of its high altitude, right? But what we were surprised by was the spread, the variance in pit stops. Like some of those stops there were 1, 2, 3 stops inside 2 seconds and 5 inside 4 seconds. And then there were others that were stopping for, like 9 seconds in the end. So fuel economy varied depending upon the operator behind the steering wheel.
Yeah, I thought I'd just go early and just not save fuel and just build a lead and see how we went.
There you go. Well, that was the thing. We were looking at it and we thought, well, we were basing the numbers on you. So when you were coming across the line, we were obviously, this was before Chapo and Bondi had stopped. So when you got across the line, it was already into overtime. That was the part that got us because we were looking at where you were on the racetrack relative to these blokes. We weren't expecting them to stretch it to 23 laps. And I want to know how they were able to stretch it and how empty their tanks were. And I think Chapo is going to tell me I could have done the whole thing without fuel in a few moments. No? Yes? No? Maybe? What?
Fact. Yeah. No, I could easily do it without fuel.
Yeah, I would have thought. See, I was only pumping up the fact that you hate fuel races and not fuel races, but compulsory pit stop races. A few moments before all that hell broke loose, mate. Get back to you shortly. But Luke, from your standpoint, is that a new career high for you? A 15, 16-second win on the platforms of the GSRC?
Yeah, I think that'll be the only one, I'd say. A few street circuits on this calendar. It doesn't suit me one bit.
Rising track temperature. Everyone seems surprised by the fact that it was mid-50s tonight.
Yeah, I'd done a little bit of practice and it was super low, which tended itself to a really fast time. So I was actually struggling with the front end a fair bit. So yeah, it was interesting.
You say struggling with the front end. What about tyre wear, mate? Because obviously we were looking at the pace. There wasn't too much drop off in lap times.
No, I can hold a consistent lap, not a decent lap, consistent lap. But I just felt the front end was getting a bit loose, so I just had to reel it in a bit.
All right, very nicely done. You mentioned the calendar. I'm not sure if Schmidt's got it there in front of him to put up on the screen or not. Sorry, Andrew Neal, I should say. Sorry, I've had 2 different directors tonight. It's the first time we've ever done that for a GSRC broadcast. If you've got it in front of you, Neely, thank you. There it is. You mentioned street circuits. Let's get your thoughts on that, because we've got Long Beach, we've got the Adelaide Street Circuit, we've got St. Petersburg, but there's a big 6-week break between those 3 street circuits, and then you all of a sudden get them back to back. What are your thoughts on the rest of the schedule, mate? Because obviously there's the Nordschleifer again. That's a difficult circuit, and I'm sure everybody here is hoping that they see dry weather conditions for that one after the deluge last time out. There's a couple of really technical, challenging circuits on there as part of this schedule. You're going to have to earn your stripes here if you want to prevail victorious, I think.
Yeah, Long Beach, I've literally just downloaded that tonight, so yeah, not interested. That's going to be a fun time. Same with St. Petersburg, never been there, but Adelaide's easy. I've got that. That's cool, so it should be fun.
Nice that we do at least get to stop on home soil twice in the last 3 weeks, and the super spread at Sandown always throws up the fireworks.
Sure will. Three races, that'll be fun.
Indeed it will be. Hey, what else are you dipping your toe into the water with this term, mate? Where else are we going to see you racing on the platforms of the GSRC?
Sadly, this is it. Family commitments, kids soccer. There's not much time left, so this will be it, I think.
Just getting some comments coming through here. Running late. Open had 13 cars. No, this is the elite split, Brad. I haven't seen the open split results yet, which incorporates the M split as well. We might get to those very shortly. We did only have 13 start the elite split race tonight, and Luke Elavoine has prevailed victorious in all of that. Let's get your thoughts on that, because obviously we were hoping that someone like a Cam Culverwell or a Sam Chapman or a Paul Rogers might go with you tonight, mate, even Willie Blair. But in the end, once you checked out and you had breathing space, no one was reeling you in. The only thing that could have possibly tripped you up was you yourself making a mistake.
Yeah, I was actually a bit surprised. I didn't know what my pace would be like, but Willie gave me a bit of confidence, so I thought, well, we'll just have a crack and see how we go.
Were you surprised at the lack of bums in seat for tonight? Because, I mean, some of the regular names, I'm thinking Benny Pedersen, Hayden Smith, Corey Lazarus, some of the heavyweights that we normally associate with this split at this time, nowhere to be seen tonight. Were you surprised by how few were on the grid?
Yeah, actually it was. Probably a bit of the Moser Cup taking a few of those guys away, but yeah, it would have been nice to see a few more of them.
Well, to be fair, that's only on a Wednesday night, and it's not every single week. It's next week, the next round there. So maybe some of them are, and I only say that because I'm over there with the commentary, but maybe there's something to be said about that. Although that being said, Chapo's a competitor in that series, so we'll get his thoughts in just a moment. We have had Jaden Draper and Jordan Dakin stop on by. I'm going to assume that we'll be able to bring you the open split and split results and chat to those blokes at the same time. Luke, which of the... Let me ask you this, because Long Beach you've only just downloaded, but out of the other 8 circuits, which is your least favourite?
Nordschleife for sure.
Oh.
That's just going to be survival for me. Definitely survival.
I guess it's an interesting one, isn't it? The dilemma here, the dynamic here, because you've somewhat made a rod for your own back, mate. You've got to the top of the summit first up. The only way is down, but hopefully you'll do enough from a consistency standpoint to stay here. Who do you think poses the most ominous threat to you when we get to some of those tracks that either the racing will be a little bit closer, the fuel strat will be a little bit more stabilised, and obviously we've got sprint rounds and inverts and other things to take into consideration, and the field might have a bit more depth to it as well?
I think you better watch out for me teammate Willie Bear. I think he's going to be quite interesting to watch for the rest of the season.
And to be fair, he didn't have a bad run tonight either. So obviously not going all to plan, but it's okay to be dusty in round 1. As long as you bank the points, it's a 10-round season. There's plenty of time to bounce back. Mate, well done. Terrific result. Great performance. Solid, smooth. It's difficult to know where to steer the conversation. A, because you've answered everything that I can think of, and B, because really you didn't do much racing tonight. It was rather a 40-minute sprint session for you because you didn't do much door-to-door racing once you broke clear of the field. So well done on all of that. Can't wait to see what you bring to the table in survival mode at Long Beach next week and on the Nordschleife for a few weeks after that. But before I let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Oh, mate, just the GSRC crew, just for good racing, and yourself for the commentary, mate. Love your work.
Good on you, mate. And we love yours as well. That was as dominant a performance as we've ever seen tonight. So congratulations for that. And we look forward to seeing how you back that up next week on the streets of Long Beach.
Cheers, thank you.
And good luck learning that track as well. That's the first time, actually, I'm not going to lie, in the 6 years that I've been here, that I can fondly recall anyone saying, I've only just downloaded Long Beach. Normally, that's one of the ones that everyone's got or everyone's been to. So baptism by fire for Luke next week, and hopefully you've got enough time to practice in the gap between the 2 rounds, mate.
Yeah, I hope so.
Very nicely done. Good luck. See you next week.
Cheers.
Rightio. With no disrespect to Mr. Draper, Mr. Dakin, or Mr. Snell, who it's great to see back in the booth, by the way. Right, we need to make sense of these 2 smart asses here, the fuel savers, Craig Bond and Sam Chapman. And I said that in the call as well. And I want it on the record that we'll pass 7:30 Western Standard Time, so I can get away with using slightly or salty words on broadcast, and I would have got away with a lot more if I was on Triple M. However, Bondy, I'm going to start with you because you've won up to Chapo, right? So he's obviously got a third, and he's still recovering from having his ego bruised a little bit in Formula V because it wasn't the configuration he was expecting. And we didn't see him factoring so prominently at the pointy end as we so often do in that series. And then you come out and beat the fuel save master at his own game. You must be smiling like a Cheshire cat right now.
Yeah, pretty good race actually. credit goes to Sam though. That was an amazing last lap. I've never had such a great race in gents before, and I was expecting to come in this interview saying nasty stuff about what's happened over the past few weeks, and that is in the back of my mind now. But in terms of pit stop, I just came in. I don't know how I jumped Chapo in there because I just stopped on my marks, and for once I did it perfect, and then on the exit I just was able to quite pull away from him.
Yeah, so that's your answer there, Craig, is you actually stopped on your marks. That was what did. But credit to
Chapo
you.
got himself undone.
I absolutely did. I couldn't believe it. It was ridiculous. A ridiculous move. It made for a cracker final lap, no doubt. Absolutely ripping one.
It certainly did. So I'll get back to you in a moment, Chapo. But really, Bondi, let's be honest, last night, early parts of Chicago didn't necessarily go to plan of the supercar. I think you picked up a 25-second penalty, did you not? However, you've turned that around quite nicely tonight. And I'm going to back Andrew Neil up. He said that's probably one of the best drives we've ever seen from you.
Well, I think that's exactly what I'm about to say tonight. That was an amazing pit exit there. Yeah, I reckon that's definitely in my top 2 best drives in karting and sim racing there, because I've never actually drove so good and held a position. I thought the race was over in the first quarter when we had like the 5-car battle pack, or I think it was even bigger than that, and we ended up losing all this time to Chapo, and then I'm like, it's 5 seconds, and then half a quarter of a race later it's down to 4 seconds, and it just kept falling tiny bit by tiny bit, and yeah, very close finish.
Chapo's already said he would have been able to make the 24th lap easy. You were on your jacks for 1.25 seconds. Were you good on fuel as well?
Yeah, I was clear for fuel. I ended up crossing the line and getting just past turn 3, and it started to pretty much drop out.
Memo to series organisers, hamstring the tanks a little bit further when we come to Mexico City next. Is it a circuit you'd like to see us return to, Bondi?
Yes, actually. I was looking forward to this one because I didn't even know what the calendar was, and then rocked up, had a look at thing, and I'm like, Mexico, and yeah, it went pretty well for myself. So, pretty happy with tonight. And the track was really good with this car. It was a really good car track combo.
Now, let's tackle a couple of other matters. You mentioned karting. I want to get to that. Congratulations also on being allowed back into the Snapchat universe.
Really, Zach? We're here to race, okay? We'll debrief the race. That social media doesn't matter. Just race.
Brilliant. I had to get that in there. I've been waiting to get one back on you for a while because of all your quips about being 112 years and 1 hour behind, and you valid, but you know it's a sore point, but you still go there. So let's go and talk about karting, because I'm in Bega last weekend. Meanwhile, you're down the road in Albury, Wodonga. How'd the Vic State Championships go for you, please?
It was pretty much a tough weekend from the start. Kart was out of the setup window for the first session, so that was a write-off. Then, yeah, the engine was good, but it just wasn't like the others. So we've came up with an idea to change what we do in that area for our next major events. But yeah, it was pretty good. Didn't get in any trouble. Oh, actually I did. That's a lie. I got 3-second penalty for breaking a white line, which was kind of on my fault, not reading the rule book. But yeah, it was an alright weekend. The final was amazing on my end. I just got pushed out halfway through a race, going from 22nd back down to like in the 30s, and then I got myself back up to 24th. So that was disappointing, but I had amazing pace for like easy top 20, but really disappointing. And then I got punted off on every single start of the heats, so that was annoying.
All right, so let's turn our attention back to something a bit more positive and live affirming. Talk to me about, well, A, when's the next karting hit out? And B, when we're going to see you pop up and have a run here on the platforms of the GSRC this term, please?
Well, I'm going to come give tomorrow a go. I've always been wanting some multi-class racing here, and we've finally got it. So I'm going to come do that in GTP. Next week I'm out on Monday and Wednesday. I've got some engineering camp to go to, and then yeah, so miss that, and then I think I'll just be back to Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm gonna do all 4 nights this time. But karting.
Sorry, mate. You go. Keep going.
Yeah, karting is up in the air. Until we get more sponsors, I'm kind of just waiting until there's stuff to do. I know I'm racing World Club Day, which isn't exactly what I want to do, but I'm more or less doing it to help some of these new ones and close mates, just to give them a hand over that weekend. It's like, might as well go give it a race, otherwise it's a bit pointless just watching other karts go around without you. But I'm trying to get a few mates to actually come do it with me, which I haven't raced against in a while, so hopefully if they do it, I'll have a bit of fun and actual competition this time.
Was waiting for you to say that you were going out to Griffith this weekend, because I know that's a very special and significant race meeting that's going on out there this weekend, and tugs at the heartstrings for you as well, considering that it's one of your old mates that they're paying tribute to. But obviously other plans and commitments are preventing you from being out in the far west?
No, actually. It's heaps of meaning, and actually I'm shocked there's not more people going, but it's actually me having an argument to Karting Australia for running championship weight, which means I'd need to add 25 kilos of lead to my cart just to make weight. So we're like, stuff that we're not going to race.
Fair enough.
And we're having that argument with them on the state trophy series as well this year. So we're not doing that either. So not much racing, and honestly the reason why is because Karting Australia thinks running 160 kilos is going to be better for people like me who has to add 25 kilos of weight, which is impossible. So
well, yeah, I was going to say that's for you that's a hell of a lot of lead to purchase, isn't it? Because if we're being perfectly honest, to paint the picture for our audience at home, you're nothing more than skin stretched over bone. There's not much fat on you.
No, there's not much fat. And I think it's getting less fat by the day as well.
Scrawny, skinny, lightweight, etc., but a bloody good peddler on his date. He proved that again tonight. Bondi, how do you take the confidence gained out of here, noting full well a couple of different things? 1, sprint racing next week. B, Concrete Canyon. C, maybe some returning faces that weren't on the grid tonight, returning because it's Long Beach, it's a circuit they got, that's a circuit they like, etc., etc. How do you feel about taking this podium result and turning it into something long-term over 10 rounds?
Well, a podium tonight is a podium. I'm going to take it. I'm happy with the result, like incredibly happy. The car was amazing. And I'll just see what happens next week. I know I'm not going to be able to give any fight to the top guys, but if there's a thing or two I could learn, I'll take that on board and be happy with that. So.
All right, very nicely done. Hey, terrific to catch up with you, mate. Well done again. Long Beach, the next stop. Your thoughts on that?
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I've done a little bit of practice today and really enjoyed the circuit. I've just got to fine-tune a few things, and I should be hopefully within 1 second of our top guys. That's the goal.
All right, let's hope so. Good luck with it. Congratulations again. Go well. Anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Well, myself / the team, which is just myself. All my karting sponsors: South Gun Guy Automotive, Gun Guy Tilt Trays, Bond Motors Gun Guy, Craig Bond Racing, Riverina Go Kart Centre. Who am I forgetting? Yuko, and that's the lot. So thank you.
I'm just reading some of the comments coming through on the chat thread. Thank you, Bondi. Well done. Apparently, Jason Wilkinson would quite happily never race this car at this track ever again. And it looks as though Kelly McLaren's open to supporting that motion and putting that on the table, open for discussion within the upper club echelons. So maybe we'll enjoy Mexico while we're here, and maybe never see it again. Maybe never going south of the border in the Porsche Cup after that one. So there's a lot of interesting comments coming through on the back of what was a compelling opening round in the Pro Split or the Elite Split tonight ahead of the second round at Long Beach next week. Thank you, Bondi. Chapo, have you got a couple of moments to stick around here?
Yeah, probably got a few.
Okay,
Am I going to get knocked, am I?
Well, no, yeah, because I want to talk to you about Formula V as well, and I don't think it's fair that we hold Mr. Draper and Mr. Dakin up for me to do that. And also, you're half an hour behind us, and it's only 9:30. It's an early night, so we'll get you out of here in plenty of time. But I just wanted to make sure that you're happy to stick around, because we've got plenty to chat about. We can chew the fat off here as well, you and me. The Mr. Draper and Mr. Dakin discussion will be bumped forward as a result of that. And with that, I'm hoping Mr. Neil might be able to bring up the results from the open split for us. Have you got those there, Andy?
No, there's no results in the sheet.
Oh, okay.
She's all blank.
Adam,
I think Adam Lovis went to bed after his Formula V experience somehow.
I was going to say, Adam's probably got an early start tomorrow morning. He usually has like a stupid 4:30 alarm or something like that on a Friday morning. And maybe, I was going to say, if you can go into the back, what am I trying to say? Fair dinkum. I've just had an absolute brain fade right now. I've just drawn blanks. I think if you go through the back pages, the back corridors of the club league servers within iRacing itself, Andy, that might help us out there. But in the meantime, let's chat to Mr. Dakin and Mr. Draper. I don't necessarily care who leads us off here. It's good to have you both in the booth. We've caught up with Jordan before. Let's say good day to Jaden Draper. Boys, because I'm scrambling to try and find some information here, I might need one of you to fill in the gaps for me. How did it all go out there for you tonight in the Open and AM split?
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Good, mate. I'm well.
It was only 3 weeks ago I was sitting here not knowing if I was going to make this race due to my surgery, but the recovery was definitely nice to me, and here we are. So to fill in the blanks for you, Jaden had a ripper job and pulled out P1. I came P2, and Bryce, I forget the last name, forgive me, but there was a Bryce that came P3.
Copy that. Yeah, nearly wasn't wrong. There are blanks everywhere on this spreadsheet at the moment. However, all those points will be updated tomorrow, and we'll have them for you first thing next Thursday night here on the platforms of the GSRC as well. We'll see what we can dig up behind the scenes. I don't have access to the club portal. I know Chapo and a few others might. So we'll see what we can do there. But you guys have just filled in the nook and cranny of it. So, okay, let's cover off the most important part of that, because you weren't sure, but tremendous considering how delicate a part of the body. If memory serves, we were talking spinal surgery, weren't we?
Yeah, that's correct. A discectomy.
So considering how delicate part of that body that it is, and how very, very careful they've got to be, because there's so much at stake there. To get a positive outcome, mate, to then have pretty much a seamless recovery transition and period, to then be back in the cockpit within 3 weeks, that's a lot of A, positive news, and B, boxes ticked, and that's a hell of a storyline. You can't ask for much better than that, I wouldn't imagine.
No, it's great. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to do any practice, but there might have been a few sneaky little sessions in there that the doctor doesn't know about. But I'm just really glad to be back here. It was only supposed to be another 2 or 3 weeks till I jumped on, so yeah, I love it.
Andrew Neil, you've absolutely smashed that there, mate. Well done. Thank you. That's up on your screen now, ladies and gentlemen. You can see that. Jaden Drober, Jordan Dakin. Back in third spot there was, of course, Young. So that's Bryce Young, Paul Wood, Sean Benici, Adam Lavis, David Baz, Joel Janssens, Paul Wilson, and Eduardo Zamora are top 10. Eduardo will be happy to have just seen the checkered flag after his misfortunes getting towed along in Formula V. So that's good news there. So, Jordan, glass half empty, glass half full. We weren't sure whether we're going to see a full championship campaign or not, but now that's obviously back on track, as is the tilted defence of said championship as well. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more. Talk us through the race from your perspective, because, again, consistency wins championships. Sure, Jaden's got the better of you tonight, but 40 minutes, Mexico City, stiflingly hot weather conditions, track conditions on the tyres. All of those were different variable talking points. The 40 minutes from your perspective, what do you make of it?
Yeah, coming away with the M Series Championship last season definitely felt like I had shoes to fill. This class of the open split is definitely a much higher caliber. It makes you pull your head in, really, when you look at some of the times that were pulled in practice and qualifying. The thing that got us through was the strategy, the pit strategy, I believe. That's how we got in front of Bryce. He had an absolute ripper night. He was very quick and very tough, and we weren't sure if we were going to make it through. Jaden, as a Northwind driver himself, it's a bittersweet moment to have him up front, but yeah, we done well working together. Earlier on in the race, him and Bryce were beefing it out, and I was just tucked in behind. I figured I'd pit early and hopefully pop out in front, but no, I popped out just behind Jaden, and then only a couple laps later, Bryce popped out just behind us. So we were lucky enough to pull away nicely there, and move up the field and see you later. But we'll definitely had him on our radar. He definitely started to creep back in, but it just wasn't enough to come close to us, luckily. So great race from him too, and great race and great win from Jaden.
We've already heard the boys in the pro split say, or the elite split say, that they would have been good on fuel. Would you have been the same if there weren't compulsory pit stop requirements?
Yeah, the fuel was sweet for me. I would have had about, I think, just over a litre to spare, which isn't a lot in these cars, but I definitely tend to use more fuel than others, so I was quite surprised to jump in and see that it was covered when I first got in.
Talk to me about your thoughts now that we're clear of surgery, we're clear of recovery, almost. I'll be interested to see if the doctor has sneakily tuned in via the YouTube thread to allow you to dob yourself in, per se. But thoughts on the next 9 weeks, mate, and that calendar. It is a tricky one. There's a couple of street circuits, a couple of stops on home soil, variation of race formats, all the stuff we love about the Porsches. But as you say, there's a difficulty level upgrade as well, going from AM to open.
Yeah, there's a few tracks in there that strike me. I loved all the street tracks, the ones that inherently have walls surrounding them. I tend to go really well at them. Long Beach, I was really looking forward to Mexico. Mexico is excellent. I seem to always go well here, so that's one ticked off I was happy with. Adelaide, another one, semi-street circuit, love that place. St. Pete's will be interesting. I haven't done any track work there, but I love to watch it in real life. And I'd say Spa. Spa's always a favourite for most people. So, yeah, it's a really good calendar.
And there it is. And when you look at that breakdown, Mexico, the United States, Austria, Germany, Great Britain, Belgium, Netherlands, Australia, 8 different countries throughout the course of a 10-week period there. It is going to be a very long season and a very grueling season. But again, 16 races, super sprint at Sandown to finish it off. A new circuit in St. Petersburg. A lot to look forward to there. But I think it's fair to say we've all got rid of one of the challenging elements of this calendar, first cab off the rank. But it doesn't get any easier, mate. Straight to Long Beach, Concrete Canyon. Is the plan of attack damage limitation with a view to the championship?
It always has to be. I think we will just approach it the same as we always do. We always rip in and have a good few hosted sessions together as a team. We work out who's good where, which different parts of the track. We all seem to help each other out. So it's a great team, Northwind. I believe that's like as you can see tonight and in previous series, it's a testament to us as a team sticking together and working well, and you seem to get results.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Stick around because I want to hear from your teammate right now. Jaden Draper, good evening to you. Solid start. Can't ask for much more than that to grab the W. Obviously, as I said to our elite split winner, the only problem with that for Luke Alavoid and now for you as well is that the only way is backwards. So I guess there's a little bit of pressure now placed on you to retain that form and stay prominent at the pointy end for the balance of the campaign. But great way to start the campaign. Talk us through it from your perspective. What do you make of it? Jaden, the lights are on, but no one's home. I can't actually hear you at the moment. If it's not a push-to-talk factor, it might be another thing. We'll let you sort that. And let me go back to your teammate. Jordan, where else are you going to pop up and have a run for the moment?
My stepson Ryder has actually taken my Monday seat in the GT3, so you'll see him around in there. My main focus is just going to be Porsche Cup. I might dip or double into a few of those committee choice nights. We'll see how we go. Some of the 8-6 nights seem to spice it up for me a little bit, looking at that calendar. But definitely my main focus is going to be Porsche Cup and trying to retain that championship.
All right, very nicely done. Let's try again. Jaden, have we got you now?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, that's much better. There we go.
There we go.
Typical newbie tech issue. We always seem to have it. Hey, congratulations, mate. Great result. Talk us through it. What'd you make of track and car combination? Obviously, everything seemed to gel and go nicely for you, but I'd love to hear it in your words.
Yeah, well, the pace was definitely good throughout the entire race, and Jordan and Bryce was definitely keeping me on my toes. They're keeping that under 2 seconds around there, and then Jordan was on right behind me, half a second, just always on me the entire race. It was, it was good to feel that pressure. I do like, that feeling of that pressure. The track temp was definitely interesting. Running at 50 degrees was very harsh on those tires, but I got to had some very awkward moments through some corners, very high speed corners. But yeah, eventually prevailed and crossed that finish line in front.
Great start to the campaign. How do you go about maintaining that form and going on with it and turning it into a championship result? And what might be the potential trip ups for you when you look at that calendar? What do you like? What don't you like?
Well, I'm definitely a huge fan of the street circuits. I definitely like getting up close to those walls. It definitely is one of my favorites. Long Beach is definitely one of mine as well. I like the satisfaction, just smacking those curves, getting close to that wall. But I definitely think street circuits will be my strongest. But I'm not too sure on that Nordschleife there.
Well, funny you should mention that. The Nordschleife is going to be interesting in the sense that last time we were there, it was an absolute deluge. I think everybody would be hoping for a dry weather scenario for that 60-minute race this time around. How familiar are you with that circuit?
Not at all. I've barely done any practice. But since there is the official 24, I'm going to start to get to grips with it and everything like that. And I hope I got some confidence coming into the Porsche Cup race.
Absolutely. Now, where else? I asked your teammate this. Firstly, what do you make of the setup and what you guys are starting to build and achieve there at Northwind Motorsport, and how much you're enjoying being part of that framework?
Yeah, it's been great. Like, everyone's very welcoming, and looking forward to see what I can do and how I can perform with this team. I am very excited to try to aim for that championship if I could. But Jordan will definitely be, and some other few drivers will definitely keep me on my toes to keep me. Excuse me.
You're right.
Yeah, keep me on my toes during the whole course of the season.
Outside, okay. Another question. There's obviously a few people lobbying for us to never return to this venue. I'm interested in Chabo's thoughts with both the configurations he's had to run on tonight. We'll get that in a moment. But would you like to see more of Mexico City or less?
I'd like to see more of it. I definitely think it's a very enjoyable track, and yeah,
it's a great circuit. And I think a little bit of an underrated one as well, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Like that main straight is, keeps everything alive with that slipstream pull, and then the high speed corners. It's always good.
And also, I guess the other point as well, and we're seeing this with a few new circuits popping up from time to time. It does take the masses a little bit of time to either pull their wallet out of their pocket and fund the purchase thereof, or at least warm to it in any other way, shape, or form as well. Some people just get thrown in the deep end, don't have a say in the matter. The series they're running, or whatever the case may be, heads to that venue and they just have to bite the bullet and go for it. But here, there's a little bit more, leverage available with regards to, if you don't want to buy it, you just don't race. It's as simple as that. Well, that's exactly right. I agree with Thorne, and I'm pretty sure that Chabo will as well. The EV circuit, the Formula reconfiguration is very tricky in the Vs. Where else are you going to pop up and have a run this season, Jaden?
I'll be in the pro split in the GT3 series. Mm-hmm. I did not have a good race this week, but I'll definitely come back stronger. Spa was one of my weaker circuits, but I'll try to be also in the endurance on Fridays. I definitely do love driving the high aerodynamic cars, the GTPs. I'm definitely pretty strong in that.
Spa being one of your weaker circuits, does that worry you with regards to the Porsches also having a stop there?
Yes, it does concern me a little bit, but I'll try to put some laps in and try to be consistent and pick up the pace a little.
That's all you can do, mate. That's all you can do. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank GSRC for running this show, of course. I would like to thank my team, Northwind Motorsports, for giving me this opportunity to be with them and be very welcoming. That's all.
All right. Jaden, Jordan, thanks for sticking around, boys. You've been very good with your time. Well done tonight. Great way to start the season for you guys. Look forward to seeing you in action as the season goes on, because select races from those splits that you're in will be broadcast on the platforms of the GSRC, the AM and Open, as well as the Elite, much similar to what we see with our GT3 broadcast arrangement. So when we're not seeing you on track, we'll be hearing from you post-race. Either way, we're looking forward to it. Good luck for the season ahead.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Zach. Appreciate it.
Chapo, let's go back to you last but certainly not least, because I want to throw a little bit of we're after 10:15 Eastern Standard Time, so just remember that. I want to throw a little bit of bait in your direction, because it usually ends well from a quality and entertainment standpoint when I do. The arrive and drive didn't necessarily suit you with Formula V tonight, I'm having a guess, because the message that came down the line to me, and I mentioned it on air earlier, so anybody that's just tuning in might only be hearing it for the first time, but everybody else heard it earlier. This track doesn't resemble Mexico at all. Send hopes and prayers. Now, Yeah, that was the Formula E configuration of the circuit, you muppet.
Yep. Yeah, but I know, it seemed like a Formula. There's colours all over the place. But it didn't follow any of the track. I reckon there was about 3 corners that were the same corners in that track. It was, the arrive and drive. I arrive and drove for Porsches as well, hence rubbish qualifying, which, not that great around Mexico, so I'm pretty happy with the result all in all, despite my horrific blunder. It got in with about 20 minutes to spare and ended up driving down the wrong part of the track on my first lap. To which point Ryan Jones messaged me and was just like, I'm so glad. He's like, I'm so glad I've just seen you drive down the wrong side of the track. I did half the lap before I worked it out. We sort of slightly got the hang of it, but I was about 3 or 4 seconds off the pace until right at the end of qualifying. So, wasn't, I guess, expecting too much. To be honest, that we survived. I reckon we're actually still going to do okay in the points comparably. So that's a positive. But yes, it created for some interesting racing and annoying because I couldn't quite get to the top of the tables. But it was good racing nevertheless. The guys raced really well tonight.
Indeed, they did. Now, on that subject, mate, let me ask you this: with regards to Formula V, did you do your homework? Did you know that it was the Formula E configuration before you lined up, or was that a bit of a shock to you?
I think I'd read it somewhere. I didn't know what it meant. No, because you told me last night it was the Formula E configuration. I was like, okay, sure. I mean, probably they'll cut off a few corners or something. They'll be largely the same, just completely different. So,
particularly the stadium section. That's a shock, isn't it?
I was working out how the hell to do that. I didn't know where I was. I was very lost, but it actually was a good track for the cars, and I think with such thin air as well, it meant that the tie wasn't quite as strong. So it meant you really had to push for a move. It wasn't a given. You just get to the main straight and you've got them, sort of thing. So and that first corner there's a lot of killer corners as well that you can get absolutely into the wall. Yeah, like that turn. Yeah, there you go. Turn 1 was scary all the time. Yes, it was. Yeah, because you downshift going into it, and you often sort of losing the rear going through it, but that helps you push through. So. Yeah, getting the hang of that in a short period of time wasn't straightforward, but largely people did a good job, and I got a bit lucky. How's that net code as well? With
I was going to say it was half a bloody car.
I don't know. I must have had my defender hacks on or something, because I actually got, despite me being the one that wobbled a bit into the wall. Chris goes upside down and I don't get damage. Or at least nothing significant. So I got kissed there. I can't. Maybe I've used up my luck for the season.
I love it. How good. Now let's talk about a couple of things here with regards to Formula V. It's interesting, isn't it, that we got to a night where Chris Noble goes winless, but that bodes well for the rest of the campaign, doesn't it? Because both you and he are on the comeback trail of sorts. So too Adam Lavis. 3 of the regulars that we normally associate with the pointy end of town with a little bit of a point to prove over the next 9 weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a long 9 weeks with a lot of stuff that can happen. I'm actually looking at like the estimated points off, because obviously they haven't been done, but the ones on iRacing, and there's the 3 of us, Lockie Purvis, myself and Ryan Jones, are all on 129 points. So, and Sagas is on 132, so he's leading before you put bonus rounds in. So it's all very, very close for the top 4 up front after that first round, obviously, and Chris is only another sort of 6 points behind. So it's all still to play for everyone, of course. But, we've got some good guys out there that should make for some good racing, and they race well.
Indeed, it should. Righto. So, next round there, Alton Park. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic for these. Just have to make sure you don't get stuck with the off tracks and that sort of thing. But most people will have done, if they've done Vs in the officials before, they would have done a few laps around Alton Park. And then Summit Point's the same after that. Just a lap in the American League the other morning in those. So that's quite a good track, but much longer straight. So yeah, you can have a lot of slipstreaming down that straight. Ooh. So yeah, no, that should be a good track. There'll be, potentially a bit of carnage here and there. It depends what that, they do with the chicane sort of sections that they have at Alton Park too, as to whether or not people go flying into those tyres. I'm not sure which one's been chosen.
Well, that's exactly right. Nor do I. I'll have to do a bit more research on that. 3 by Australian Open Wheel Nationals, not Nationals, on that acronym there, if you're trying to interpret that, ladies and gentlemen. Intro Formula, Oz Legends, Porsche cars, production cars, and S-Series Championships. So you've racked up a few accolades in your time here on the platforms of the GSRC, Chabo. Were you as surprised as I was that the field was as depleted as it was, both here in the Porsches and also in Formula V?
Yeah. I mean, on that as well, I'm overflowing now, so I might have to get the John Merritt, etc., which has always been a dream. But yeah, I was surprised by the numbers. I think I reckon the lower series had a few more. I thought they had about 29 or something in the service. So I think they just need to merge them, or at least merge some of them. But or readjust who's in the top split. It seems like a lot of the guys that are often in that top split haven't come out, at least for the first round. So I think it's just potentially a weighting issue. It was good that we're able to put on a bit of a show regardless. But I think that might just have to readjust, who's who in the zoo, as far as that's concerned, or just put everyone in the same server, which I would personally prefer. I think that's always better. It creates a much better spectacle and makes it more interesting. But yeah, I was a bit surprised. I think, my view is these cars aren't as easy just to pick up and drive as the other ones, just because, you can always drive a TC car, but it's not as easy to master in a way. It's not as easy to push as hard and get that feeling, in my view. I wonder about that. Maybe it's track selection as well. Yeah. It's not a simple track. It takes a bit of time to, I'd done a few laps of it a while back, but I'd forgotten it all. And it does take a bit to do it quickly, because you got to know which corners you can cut and which you can't. And, this car isn't particularly happy on a bounce as well. And there's a lot of that around here. So,
the old pogo, yep.
Yeah, the old pogo. So, so there's often, a bit of a pace delta here, and getting the hang of like this section, for instance, you've really got to get into a sort of flow. It's very easy to sort of push a bit hard and start losing the rears and all that sort of thing. And I pushed very, very hard in the first few laps and probably burnt my tyres out by the time I got to sort of P2 anyway, trying to push through the field. So, Where's the Porsches next week, Zach?
Long Beach. Streets of Long Beach.
Yes, all right, that'll be good. I reckon we'll get a bit more of a showing then. Be Long Beach, and I think sprints as well, so that'll be a lot of fun. Red Bull Ring, I think we'll get a bit more out for that, and you might get a few specialists out for the Nürburgring. So I wouldn't be surprised if numbers pick up a little bit. Tracks like this sometimes as an opener don't pick up as many, but I guess we'll see.
We will indeed, and looking forward to it. Long Beach always a favourite, but before that, you got to worry about Spa.
Yeah, I do. I've got to do some laps there. It's got to be better than last time, Zach. That was rubbish. So, it was just rubbish. Yeah, just buggered up quali, and then the pace was decent in the race, but just any time I went forward, something happened, I went backwards. So, we're going to have to, I think, sort out quali to start with, around there as well. Like, the times are so tight, we're really going to have to be disciplined as to how you do slipstream and all that sort of thing around Spa. Making sure you get those laps in, because otherwise, your 2/10s can drop you 20 positions. So, I can't just sort of do the push through the field either, because they're a pretty strong bunch of drivers. Nor can I use my strategy tricks, of course, either. So it's a stitch up on all ends. But we'll get the hang of it. And, fingers crossed. The guys have put in a few laps, and, we had a few guys do really, really well on last time out at the Hockenheimring. Hopefully this time we're back up with them.
Hopefully so, mate. Hey, a question with regards to all of that. Are you expecting less or more carnage?
Oh, there was a fair bit of carnage. I think, Spa, you can see how there would be. There's certainly places for that to go down. Having said that, you often have more on the opening round as everyone's sort of getting the feel for it. Everyone's a bit jumpy. No one's raced with each other. Getting a bit used to the car to some degree as well. So I'd say probably a bit less, to be honest, because there was a fair bit, and I think it will quieten down a little. But it's also sprint racing as well, so people aren't managing their race as much as they might have been in things like GT Pro or anything like that.
All right, very nicely done. Now, with regards to the schedule here for the Formula Vs, happy with what you've seen on that calendar? I mean, the back end of that calendar, thank you, Andrew. Brilliant that you've got both of those at your disposal. Alton Park, Summit Point. The screen's just gone on me, so I'll come back to that. There it is. Miami, the MIA loop. There's a couple of people not happy about us going to Formula E circuits, but MIA will be all right. The Nürburgring without the arena, the Tsukuba circuit, Brands Hatch, some of those are hit and miss, but Barber Motorsport Park, Willow Springs, and the Bend to finish us off. Holy hell.
Oh, but name a track that's hit and miss in a Formula V, those are really. The only one I reckon that was close to that was Le Mans, and that was fairly ridiculous anyway, if we're being serious about it. So, there'll be some good tracks for it. The MIA loop I found a bit limited for me, but that once again, that was pretty low practice going in and needed to work out how the track went, so at least I know now to some degree. And then, the rest, you got a lot of classics there. I think, Tsukuba will be, very tight, always is. Brands Hatch is a brilliant track, and I think, it finishes very strong. You've got, Barber's going to be brilliant in these. Willow always puts on some intrigue. I'll probably say it might be a bit big for these cars, the way that it works, but you're probably going to get some 5-wide action as well, so I think it will put on for a bit of a broadcast. It will do indeed. So and the Bend West, that will be a good place to finish this off. So it's as I said, it's got a few nice old classics like your Barbo and your Brands, but throwing in a few interesting newer ones that I certainly haven't done in the V's before. So bring it on.
And certainly a very happy hunting ground for you as well, the Bend West, let's be perfectly honest. Now, you mentioned the Formula V and the slipstreaming. I don't think it was just the high altitude. I think it was because the main straight was the only really long straight that you guys had in the Vs tonight as well. That didn't help matters. So I may be wrong, but certainly more slipstreaming in the weeks ahead in Formula V on the platforms of the GSRC, particularly when we get to Summit Point. We had photo finishes galore there last time out. So, with that in mind, Porsche Cup, great race with young Bondi. In the end, field spread out and then came back together. Pit strategies varied. Unfortunately, just that little slip up, missing the pit box, mate. It ended up being costly, not just because of Bondi, but it was 2 seconds that you lost there in all of that. You had to be centimetre perfect. You weren't. What do you put down? What do you blame for that mistake, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, just
what do you put it down to?
Sheer incompetence. It really is, right? Because I should have just been easing into that box, and I would have come, even if I was a bit slow into the box, I would have come out with 1.5 seconds. It would have been easy. But I've gone in, I've overshot it, completely rookie error. And it cost me the spot. So credit to Bondy. I was watching him, and sort of carefully sort of managing pace, watching him, because I could tell he was pretty quick there and he was making up time. But figured I had it done, and completely threw that away. So, what was otherwise a really strong race coming through the field, and my pace, I don't think was particularly good or consistent. Like there was a lot of work that I could have done and to be better there, but I was relatively happy with second. But threw it away, but. It did make for a cracking final lap, and I wasn't going to go down without a fight, and he stood up to it well, and we had a good door bang back and forward, but I think my tyres were a bit cooked by this point as well. I was bouncing over things and cooking them a bit hard too, so credit to him. That was really good.
S Series, I just. It gelled, it clicked for me. Social series, of course.
My very first.
For Chapo. Of course, up and comers, social series, all of that was sort of in the same vein, wasn't it, back in the day?
It was.
Going around the grounds, Collingwood 88 defeated Carlton 83 in the AFL. The Cowboys smashed by Manly 38 points to 6 in the NRL. Netball Australia today confirmed Channel 9 is the new home of netball from 2027 to 2031. And, of course, the other point of interest from a cricket standpoint, Bangladesh's upcoming home tours where they're hosting New Zealand, Pakistan and Australia will all be live on Fox and KO around Australia. So keep an eye out for those. Chapo, obviously, I hazard a guess Long Beach, when we get there, will be on the back of limited prep time for the Porsche Cup round, considering that your real focus is going to be Spa?
I'd expect so. If I've had much time to prep, we can imagine Spa hasn't gone too well. So, I suspect it will have a similar amount of prep time to this, which was 2/3 of qualifying. But, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe I might see if I can, get on and do a few laps this weekend and, try and get my head around it. It'll be good to, try and properly get my head and be competitive, week to week and, use this as a bit of a practice session and understand that car better rather than doing a pure arrive and drive. But, it'll just depend on time and energy and that sort of thing at the moment.
So no to the Formula E Mexico City circuit going forward?
I mean... to be honest, it actually did put on good racing. It's, now that I've done it, at least I sort of know the direction it goes. And, I think it would actually be quite good. But it's also, there's a lot of points of risk in that circuit as well. As we spoke about, that turn one is pretty spooky. But then there's a lot of other points. You've got 2 or 3 points where you can opt, or you're primarily going down to second gear, which always creates a bit of interest in those cars because they don't particularly like the downshift much. So you probably saw a few spins with people hitting that downshift because it makes that rear so unstable. But that makes it interesting too. So you're not going to see as many of the sort of 3 wide finishes or anything like that, but it will be a bit more of a skill race around there, which I do like.
Chabo, very nice to catch up with you as always, mate. Thank you for hanging back. We appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Oh, well, thank you guys for hanging around. We've padded a bit of time over the last couple of days, Zach, so
we've done well, yes.
That's good. And Andrew, for jumping on. I heard there was 2 broadcasters tonight. We did a split. So
bat and change. Yep.
Wow. Well, I like that. That's I respect that. So anything to get Thursday up and running. So no, well done, guys. And obviously, thanks to the team and that sort of thing as well. I'm riding solo tonight. I think the rest are doing the NASCAR tracks, which I have been doing, but Formula V takes precedence, so we're out here.
Correct. Actually, fun fact, not so for Lane Thoburn, but fun fact for everybody else, and I only just saw this now. He's the only name that was on the championship points leaderboard when I had a look at it a few moments ago, because Adam Lavis had already put this in. And we'll obviously go back to the drawing board and fix the rest of the matrix tomorrow. But Lane Thoburn was put on the sideline, put on the bench tonight. He wasn't allowed to compete because he exceeded safety license Formula V penalty points in round 10 of Formula V last time out, which was term 3 last year. But because we haven't had Formula V on the server since then, he still had a 1-week ban to serve. So it's a delayed start of the season for Lane. Just like it was a delayed start of the year for Queensland. They only got there at the start of April. So that's unfortunate for Lane, but hopefully he'll be one of the many names that return and pop up over the coming weeks on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in Formula V, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's a stitch up, Zach. That's a stitch up, I reckon. I'm not sure if you recall a few years ago.
I'm reading it on the sheet here.
No. I know you're correct. But like, I remember this happening to me a couple of years, or not exactly, but I go in, I got to be a really good boy into round 1, immediately rear end John Merritt and earn myself a holiday for round 2. Your season's over already. It sucks. But yeah, hopefully we see it back out there again.
Hopefully so. Indeed, yeah. Unlucky for Lane Thoburn, but them's the breaks, unfortunately. Go and get some sleep, Chubbo. You've earned it. Well done, mate. Appreciate that as always. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chubbo.
Final thoughts from you, Andrew Neil?
Oh, what a race. Not many on the field, but cracking battles there. The 5-car battle pack that lasted, 10 laps?
Oh,
that was good.
At least 5, yeah.
Yeah, the finish was amazing. Action.
Indeed, and plenty more where that came from for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. We do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, merch.tgsrci.com, Trophy AI, and Flash Graphics. So look ahead at what's coming your way starting tomorrow night. Now, at this point, to be confirmed that there's going to be a broadcast, if any. Now, I'm available. I've put my hand up and said, look, if someone wants to broadcast Friday nights, I'll do a bit of overtime. I don't mind. But if not, I'll put the feet up, have a couple of coldies while I watch the footy. It's one of those sort of, damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of scenarios, and happy to have a backup plan in place. It's not like I'm bound by social obligations or anything until Saturday, but that is the assignment. If there is a broadcast, we'll be here 8:30 Eastern time tomorrow night. If not, our cohort will be competing in the opening round of the Gentleman's Endurance Championship. So this is the Le Mans prototypes, the GTEs, and the hypercars, all going head-to-head, multi-class racing, 75 minutes, the Imola circuit in Italy, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Saturday night, Mountain Men, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm just double-checking that because I'm pretty sure I saw earlier in the week. Yes, Mountain Men's going to start a little bit earlier, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this time round. 8 o'clock during Term 2 and 3, 8:30 Term 4 and 1 because of that extra time lapse between the East Coast and the West Coast. So 8 o'clock, 32 laps of Bathurst. Car of choice will be determined via a wheel spin tomorrow night. If there's no broadcast, there's no wheel spin. But if there's no wheel spin, you'll be notified via Discord, I'm sure, by the organiser, the great man trucker Joe Baldwin. And then we turn our attention very quickly to week number 2 of Term 2 for 2026. I'll be up in Brisbane by this point. I'll be back up in Ipswich. The Algarve International Circuit, Portimao, Portugal. Waste Options Formula 3 getting us underway. 7:25 for the broadcast. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. 2 sprint races there. Then on to GT3, the Pro-Am split in focus from Mugello in Italy. Next Monday night, 60 minutes the journey, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, the race start. Tuesday night, the social series. Sorry, Andrew? I'm happy with that. If you're happy to run the risk of owing the Minister of Finance some brownie points, because I know if that was, I know if that was. if you're happy to do that, mate, I'm happy to do that. Not a problem at all. That being said, I may still have a spicy collar at the end of the broadcast during the wash up, the post race show. So yes, do stick around tomorrow night. We'll confirm that. I was going to say if that was Johnny Bannock or one of our other colleagues asking for some leverage there, some downtime, I'm not sure they'd be so lucky. So if you're happy to do that, I'm happy to join you. Looking forward to it. Oh, look at this. TCR actually alive and well in iRacing. Shame about the real world. Knockhill in Scotland, the venue for the committee's choice on Tuesday night. 3 sprint races. The server opens at 7 p.m. The racing soon after that. Of course, there's a qualifying session to get things underway. Wednesday night, at this stage, I won't be here. So I'm not sure who's going to deputise. There's a good chance that the Toyotas will be a replay file at some point. Again, Adam Lavis and I have got to work out our respective schedules there to make that happen, because Dan Yeaman's work schedule is not looking all that flash for him to be here in time for the entree. But for the main course, at least he'll be here. Hopefully someone can jump in and do the comms with him. The Virginia International Raceway, the venue for both. It's sprint racing for the Toyotas. It's a 40-minute race for the supercars. That is 7:25 and 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, respectively, those 2 races. Good luck to all and sundry. I'm off commentating the Porsches, but if we have to do a replay of one or both of those, I'll be back to tick that off as well. Anything to put a bit extra coin in the Christmas fund at the moment. And then Thursday night, we are back with you definitively. Matt Schmidtke here for the entree, or the main course as I like to call it, and Andrew Neal here for dessert. We're off to Alton Park for 3 sprint races in Disruptive Labs Formula V. That is 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then on to the Porsche Cup, with thanks to the great people here at the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club from Long Beach in California. All night of sprint racing, a full night of sprint racing all night long next Thursday night. 2 sprint races there, races 2 and 3 of 16 in the campaign, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, bat and change in the middle, and it seemed to work all right tonight. So looking forward to doing that on the regular throughout the course of this season. It's been good fun tonight. We hope you've enjoyed it. As Andrew said, it looks like we're going to see you tomorrow night. If we don't, for whatever reason, good weekend of sport coming up, even without Formula One, of course. We're supposed to be in Saudi Arabia. Damn it. Not going to be the case. One of the last days of the autumn carnival of racing. Live Golf in a world of hurt at the moment, financially speaking, but at least they're in Mexico starting tomorrow morning. Plenty of AFL and NRL. Christchurch for the supercars. Super Rugby Pacific, NRL. See what I did there? What else have we got? The English Premier League heading to a critical point. Suncorp Super Netball, World Superbikes. If you're in Queensland, get behind the 9 Queensland Telethon. They do great work. Suncorp Super Netball, Women's Rugby USA and Australia Saturday morning on Stan Sport. There's also NASCAR Cup racing from Kansas and IndyCar from the famed Long Beach, Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That might even be worth getting up for, I might add. I'm not normally a morning person, but for Long Beach, I might make an exception to the rule. And then we're, of course, back with you on Monday night. But as we said, we may well see you tomorrow night yet. Merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com is where you go for all your GSRC merch and paraphernalia. Support the club that supports you. I think I told the story earlier in the week. I finally located my GSRC shirt. I thought it had gone walkabout. I couldn't locate the bloody thing. I thought I'd lost it in travel, or someone had nicked it, or whatever. Turned out Mum put it in the wrong pile of washing, and Dad's had it for 12 months. So it's been safe until he wore it the other day. And he was wondering why I was owning an extra large shirt, and I was like, well, that was all the club had at the time, so that's what they sent. So yes, I'm happy to have that back in my possession now until Christmas time when it gets lost in the washing again. But anyway, that says more about the family than I probably need to divulge at this time of the night. Hope you enjoyed that. On behalf of Matt Schmidtke, Andrew Neal, the entire broadcast commentary production team here, that's Thursday Night Motorsport done and dusted for week 1 of term 2 of 2026, our historic 25th season. Plenty more where that came from, starting tomorrow night from the Imola circuit in Italy. Until then, from all the crew here, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great evening, everybody. We look forward to doing it again next time. Well done to all of our winners tonight. Different server winners in each and every race that was run. Can't ask for much more than that. We're sharing the love tonight. 3 winners in Formula V. And well done to Luke Alavoine with a clinical drive here in Mexico City. We'll see you from Imola tomorrow night. Until then, bye for now.